This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Friday, 13th December 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is News to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Irresponsible and incompetent. That's how Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley described the daily newspaper's headlines, which said the United States can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago when the government signed an agreement as White House ups the pressure on Maduro. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said this country's position of non-interference and non-intervention in other nations' internal affairs has always been the stance taken by Trinidad and Tobago and has been publicly indicated on many occasions in the past. Dr. Rowley questioned where and how the newspaper in question came up with this story. On Tuesday, Commander of the U.S. Southern Command Admiral Alvin Hosley and the Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines signed the Southcom Human Rights Initiative at the DIP Center in St. Anne's on December 10th. Speaking yesterday, Dr. Rowley warned the consequences from this article could have serious implications. He said while the country has entered various agreements in the past relating to bilateral security arrangements, it does not mean they can be used to accommodate outside military intervention if there is instability in Venezuela. The political climate is heating up after United National Congress yesterday began efforts to forge alliances with smaller political parties and prominent trade unions to take on the ruling PNM in the next general election. Parties include the Progressive Empowerment Party led by Philip Alexander, the Movement for National Development MND headed by former AG Gavin Nicholas, and the Congress of the People. Labor unions, including the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, the Public Services Association, the Transport and Industrial Workers Union, the Trinidad Tobago Postal Workers Union, and the Fire Services Association also were at the meeting. Leader of the opposition, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, convened separate meetings with the groups ahead of screening for 5 key constituencies in Arima, Aruka Maloney, Dabadi O'Meara, Lopino Bonnia West, St. Augustine at the UNC headquarters in Chaguanas yesterday evening. Prasad-Bissessar highlighted the strength of the new coalition, insisting it will be even better than the 2010 People's Partnership. Meanwhile, NTA political leader Gary Griffin has questioned what he describes as an attempt by the UNC leader to fool the population into believing the UNC is forming a genuine political alliances with other entities to win the next election. Prasad-Bissessar was scheduled to meet with reps of the various unions and political entities yesterday. Griffith said in a statement, "It's amazing that pop-up parties have now become relevant to the UNC." He added, "It's also amusing that a party that said the nastiest things about her during the local government election promised to do everything to ensure the UNC never gets into government, that she now wants to work with. Yet another party, NTA, that worked with her during the local government election and sent correspondences to meet with her, she's refused. Not surprising," end quote. The Trinidad Tobago Airline Pilots Association, TALPA, has welcomed the signing of a collective agreement for after a period of impasse and peaceful picketing. Caribbean Airlines on Wednesday announced that the 2015-2020 collective agreement has been signed for 4%. The signing followed the news conference held by TALPA on Monday, who at the time accused the CAL board of hijacking the negotiation process. There's an increase in reports of counterfeit checks targeting senior citizens' pensions, as well as disability and public assistance grants. Supermarkets, groceries, and district revenue offices are asked to exercise heightened vigilance while processing grant checks. Caution from the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. It's advising all financial institutions to be alert in the processing of grant checks. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts announced Cabinet has approved increased funding for unsponsored steel bands and steel pan players. Unsponsored steel bands participating in Panorama 2025 will benefit from enhanced financial support. These grants will be available for each of the 54 single pan and 96 conventional bands entering Panorama competitions next year. Single pan grant allocations have increased from $7,500 to $10,000 per band. Conventional bands grant allocations have increased from $15,000 to $20,000 per band. West Indies cricket has won the third and final 50 overs one-day international match against Bangladesh by 4 wickets at Warner Park in St. Kitts on Wednesday. Set 322 to win, the regional team made 325 from 6 overs. from 46 overs. Good scores came from Trinidadian Amir Jangu, who made 104 not out, and debut from 95 from Casey Carter. Earlier, the visitors made 321 for 5, which was made up of 4 half centuries. Finally, U.S. President Joe Biden has issued presidential pardons to 39 Americans convicted of nonviolent crimes and commuted the sentences of nearly 1,500 other people. The White House described it as the most acts of presidential clemency issued in a single day. It comes after Biden made the decision to pardon his own son, Hunter Biden, 2 weeks ago. The U.S. Constitution decrees that a president has the broad power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the U.S., except in cases of impeachment. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Morning, neighbors. That's right. It is Friday. It's a Black Friday, the 13th day of December. Yep, it's a Black Friday. And you know what that means? On the 12 days of Christmas. Yeah, we'll let Paul sing that later on. It's 12 days to Christmas. Don't raise your eyebrows, young man. Don't raise it. We'll put you on the spot to sing the 12 days of Christmas. So go on Google and pull up the lyrics. All right? Just saying. Pull up the words. But good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, full cast in this morning. We just heard from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shane in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. 24 degrees at Piarco International Airport. 23 at Crown Point in Tobago. Let's see if the Met Office updated their weather. They have at 6:06. Partly cloudy with a few light to moderate showers and periods of sunshine. There is a low 30% chance of the isolated heavy shower and or thunderstorm. All right, so there you go. That's your weather forecast for today. Traffic-wise, it's absolutely clear. All right. Good morning to you, Pablo.
Good morning, Steve. Good Friday morning, everyone. Happy Black Friday.
It's Black Friday. Mm-hmm.
A good thing. It used to be an ominous thing long ago. Well, I guess some people it's still ominous.
Yeah. They say the unluckiest day of the month. Don't walk under a ladder. Don't cross the path of a black cat. All those superstitions, you know. But yeah, it is a Black Friday, the last one for the year. And 12 days to Christmas. This Christmas is just coming quickly.
I don't know. I'm not feeling the spirit yet. Maybe this week will kick in. Maybe this week it will kick in.
Yeah, it's beginning to kicking. I will tell you that last evening, the MP for San Juan Barataria, Saddam Hussein, with a motorcade and Santa Claus, drove around wishing people Merry Christmas and giving the kids little presents and stuff. I thought that was very nice. You know, and he had the kids and had all the presents, and it was really nice. I had a little short convo with him. I said, what is all this racket going on outside? So the Mako in me, aka the Richard in me, came out, and I went and I saw it. So I sent it to the guys. None of them respond. I wonder if they're getting that in a reamer. But well done, MP for San Juan Barataria, Saddam Hussein.
I remember Smart City. You know what happened to you?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, Santa Claus to go there.
Sorry about that. And Smart. And it's not a city.
No, it's not.
What's wrong with you?
We are in a close community. But yeah, thank you, Saddam Hussein. I thought that was very nice.
Very nice. Very good. That's what the MPs is supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Excellent. My neighbor came out with her 1-year-old and he handed her a little present, and little goodies, and she was quite ecstatic about it. Not a care in the world.
Very nice. Those are things MPs supposed to be doing.
Yeah. You know, it was right. It was nice.
And not only at Christmas time either.
Yeah, I've never seen that around the area before, and I thought it was
Good.
better late than never, I would say.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Hey, Wendell in town. Morning.
Wendell.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Richard. Good morning to the dad and Tobago and listeners all over.
Are
Steve,
you on
on
the square? Was that when Paul?
That's the office saying get no drinks in when I went.
Yeah. So let's deal with that.
I will wait. No, I'm going to wait on Richard. I'm going to wait for Richard to come on here to explain that story of Paul visiting me.
Not even a glass of water.
A whole entire hour. And not to say, hey, Paul, you are there?
I will wait until Richard comes on here. But I was here, you complimenting Saddam Hussein for doing something. And I agree with Paul. And all MPs, I think, do that. Is it the first time he did it?
Well, the first time I'm seeing that, yes.
Oh, first time you see it?
And I was not around the area.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure. I can't imagine that Saddam Hussein wait till the last year of his term to do that. I hardly suspect that's what he did. I hope that's not what he did.
At least he did it.
I know Paul know where I'm going, he done rolling up the eyes.
I don't know where you're going to.
No, but I think all MPs do that. All MPs have that Christmas spirit. All councillors do it too, I think.
Well, when Paul sings the 12 days of Christmas next hour, we'll
Yeah. No, Christmas time is not a time to be how I should put it, selfish and ungrateful. It's a good time of the year, and I think most people have a good time. There are people who have bad memories of Christmas because they would have lost a loved one or they would have lost a job or something like that, But generally, people try to cheer up one another during the Christmas time. I know I do it. Lord knows, it's not easy, but I do it, So I'm sure all the MPs are doing it, man. I certainly know Pete Scotland did it. Marlene McDonald did it successfully for years, And Pete Scotland has kept that tradition. So I'm sure all MPs do it, Yeah, so what today is? Today is
Black Friday.
Yes, I think I woke up this morning with a pain in my big toe. I could not even rest my foot down.
Pain in your big toe.
Right? No, serious. I didn't bounce my toe anywhere. I went to bed normal.
Did you get a penicillin shot for that?
Well, I don't know. I didn't even feel the pain whilst I was in bed. But as I got up and I stepped off the bed,
did you what's in the big toe?
I said, "What the hell? What is going on here?" Something happened in my dream.
Did you abuse your big toe?
The palm on the square.
I don't know. I sleep and hug up 4 pillows.
I thought you were
6 pillows. I have 6 pillows. And I think I hug up all during the course of the night. You understand? And that's what I can't. So my toe, I don't know where I hit my toe. But I still have pain. I'm still in pain as we speak. I got up, showered, and headed downtown. And there's a bad accident, by the way, warning people well, I don't know how bad it is because there's a truck blocking the path by Mount Hope Hospital on the bus route. Really? So you can't, you have to go to the up lane when you reach that area.
Oh Lord.
It's blocked. It's the down lane, what will that be? The westbound lane of the bus route. There was a truck across it. I think it crashed into a maxi because I saw about 4 maxis parked up in that area. And that was when I came down 45 minutes ago or so, or thereabout.
Oh, yeah, there's another accident.
About 5:30. Yeah.
Right, there's another accident eastbound just after Trin City lights and before Piarco lights as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that accident on the bus route will cause a little disturbance. Well, I hope they cleared it by now. But because as I say, if you come in west, you have to go across to the eastbound lane to come around that particular intersection.
Yeah. You know what I saw, gentlemen, that I said I have to talk about. You see that bus route by the Quasi?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting to turn left to get to the Quasi, right? There is a maxi pulled up heading westbound right at the traffic light, which they always do, makes no sense to me. Another maxi is facing westbound, but on the eastbound lane.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another maxi eastbound just before the bus terminal, right? Where they're not supposed to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And an ambulance is heading eastbound, and none of them move.
Yeah. If they don't have transit police there, by the way, I
None
saw
of them.
transit police put out a notice last night that they have 29 new officers, so they're going to have extra patrols on the PBR. But if transit police not there by that crazy, it's chaos,
Yeah. QREP is chaos. The quiz is absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's always chaos.
But if one of their family members in that ambulance, they'll be cussing.
Yeah. I think maxi taxi drivers are special breed of people.
They need to start taking away passes from people with these errand drivers after whatever. Above my pay grade. But they need to do something.
Well, if you could have 14,000 people whose demerit points exceed what they should be driving on the roadways, I mean, clearly there's what's the word? There's an enforcement issue at foot here. 14,000, come on, and they're driving, all right?
Yes,
and
yes.
They're driving.
14,
And they're driving.
not 4,000, not 1,400, 14,000.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? That there's an enforcement issue?
Yeah, of course.
So what is the point of giving out the merit points and activating the law if people will reach the limit and they drive? I mean, if 200-300 slip through the track or 30-40 is one thing, but if there's 14,000, it means that nobody's enforcing.
Yeah, we have a problem. Yeah,
it means that there's an enforcement issue. What's the point of passing laws if you're not enforcing?
Yeah.
And people can check, I remember Adan, they had sent me the link. I don't know what to do with it.
We try that all them police roadblockers have. Not one of them roadblockers pick up none of them 14,000.
No, because in 10 seconds, again on WhatsApp, roadblock by tool time.
Steve, even with that said, there are roadblocks where people are being intercepted.
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell me none of them roadblock for the last couple of months. Anyway, we have a lot of news from yesterday into today.
Well, I'm using my phone again this morning.
We'll make Wendell's day.
You know what? I could switch. I wonder if I could switch to using my second phone and use this phone for a thing.
Don't go through all that drama. Just stay here.
Yeah, all right.
That's going to be chaos.
Wendell has been making a bold prediction.
Which one?
The last 12. Wendell's crystal ball is on point these days here.
And it's Black Friday, so you know what's going on.
So I have 2 videos to play this morning.
Let
me see if I could find them. What I just put.
We don't know.
Right.
All right, let's go.
The first one that Wendell made a bold prediction.
We're all very interested in getting rid of this government, wrecking our country. Everyone is suffering, and therefore we want to have a coalition of interests to see if we can work together for the better interests of all the citizens of our country. Persons here with me and others have expressed an interest to work together, and that's what the purpose of this meeting is about, because we're embarking into further screening, and I would really like to hear from my colleagues, their views as we go forward. So to meet, I think it's very important. Our country is very diversified. The demographics, in every regard, we have a unique country, and therefore if we could come together for that coalition of interests, those are the words I'm using, we retain our identities, but we work together for the benefit of the citizens.
So could we be looking at the possibility of some type of alliance with some of the other people represented here, maybe
Well, I think that
support the UNC, or they feel candidates that the UNC supports in certain areas?
As I say, when we have our discussions today, we've had discussions before, and therefore we have already identified common ground. We have a lot of common ground. Today we can further thrash those out, and we look forward to just removing.
So Gary Griffith has responded.
Mhm.
I don't want to misquote the
Mhm.
Gary Griffith has said that in response to that he questioned what he described as an attempt by the United National Congress political leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar to fool the population into believing the UNC is forming a genuine political alliance with other entities, including the Progressive Empowerment Party, Philip Alexander, the Movement for National Development, Gavin Nicholas, the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, Ansel Roger, you saw there, where we spoke to Ozzy earlier last week, right?
Yes.
Who was very candid about this. The Congress of the People, Hope, Honesty, Opportunity, Performance, and Empowerment, the Public Services Association.
Leroy Batiste.
Right? Gary Griffith has said that it's amusing, and I'm quoting here, open quotations, it's also amusing that a party that said the nastiest things about her during and after local government elections and promised to do everything to ensure the UNC never got back into government, she wants to work with. Yet another party, the NTA, his party, that worked with her during local government elections, sent official correspondence to her to meet, and she's refused. Not surprising. And
Let me tell you something. He and all going back there.
He's made no secret, Wendell, of the fact that he wants an alliance with the UNC. And that he thinks that's the way for smaller parties to go. So he said so. He's been very candid about that. But in my opinion, they've all said nasty things about both Mrs. Persad-Bissessar and Dr. Rowley.
Yeah. Well, Ansel Roger certainly did. Ansel Roger is the consistent one in the middle of all of that. They are despicable. And let me put out this challenge to Mrs. Persad-Bissessar this morning. This is a challenge coming from me, Wendell Steve, a member of the People's National Movement. If you could get Gavin Nicholas, Philip Alexander, Ansel Roger, Kurt Sinnett, Timothy Hamel-Smith, who did I miss? That cover, and Leroy Batiste. That covers all that motley bunch there, right? If you could get any one of them in a seat along the East-West corridor and they win, I will join the UNC the day after. Any seat you put them in along the East-West corridor and they win,
Steve,
I will join the UNC.
Steve,
any one of them.
I need that clip.
Press the other record button.
Yeah. Let me do that.
Ansel Roger, Leroy Batiste, Gavin Nicholas, who contested many times and lost. Philip Alexander, who contested many times and lost. Timothy Hamel-Smith, I don't know if he ever contested a seat. And Kurt Sinnett, well, he might have been, I think he was a boxer, right? He's a boxer, right? If you could get any one of those six to contest a seat along the East-West corridor, because that's hardly what they're there for. Because nobody else, them is one-man party, all of them who are just...
Well, we need to understand that those are preliminary discussions. There's no officialized. Although Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, when asked by the reporter, said that the strength of the new coalition, she's calling it, according to Newspaper Coalition, will be better than the 2010 People's Partnership, because clearly the Congress of the People has gone back. It'll be interesting. So Gary is saying he doesn't think...
It's not the Congress of the People, Paul. It's the Congress of the person. It has no people there. It's same COP, but it's not for people. It's a person.
It also includes the Transport and Industrial Workers Union, the Trinidad Tobago Postal Workers Union, and the Fire Services Association.
Yeah. Yeah. So all the unions coming together, right? So because we expect, let me tell you something, yeah. This is such a fast. And why would they think that the population gonna buy into that again? I mean, I agree with Gary Griffith here. Why would they think the population should buy into that again?
That could be our question this morning. Do you think it's a real coalition?
Oh God, man, come up with that. She can't be so desperate.
So that's one of the news items that went yesterday. The other one is the Prime Minister hosted the post-cabinet news briefing to deal with a Newsday front page article yesterday, which basically said that because an agreement had been signed, and we saw a picture of the Prime Minister and the U.S. Ambassador and the Minister of National Security
and the commander
and U.S. Southern Commander Admiral Alvin Halsey signed an agreement that the newspaper ran an article that said that Trinidad and Tobago can be used as a base for countries nearby that may be in conflict. So our good boy.
Isn't it, Paul? At least this was my understanding, that this was an agreement that was in place since 2007 or thereabouts, and it's an extension of it?
It's an extension of a long-standing multilateral agreement.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't even say bilateral. Well, this could be bilateral because it's between TNT and the US, but I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of other Caribbean countries that have similar arrangements with the US.
Yes.
To share information, to collaborate and train, to have stakeholder engagement, all in the interest of national security.
Yes.
Right? So, good morning, Gregory Mulgurney. That's my boy. You know that's my boy, right?
Yes, Gregory.
You get some level buff yesterday. Let's share that video with you all.
Yeah.
Because Gregory is now with the Newsday. He used to be with our newsroom. That's Gregory. You kind of stand up on the wrong end of the stick yesterday.
Gregory used to stand up on the wrong end. It's Gregory, and I used to have it out sometimes.
Let me get the badge here. The badge.
Minister Hines and Minister Brown, neither of them chose to respond.
And which one of them told your reporter that?
Well, our understanding is that the SOFA agreement has several clauses which include one that says the U.S. can launch military personnel and machinery to countries in conflict from signatories to the agreement. Guyana is also a signatory.
Stick a pin. Is that where interpretation come from?
The SOFA agreement.
Countries in conflict. What conflict is Trinidad and Tobago involved in, or likely to be involved in?
Two countries in conflict from signatories. So anybody who has signed up to it, for example, Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, the United States can use either country as a launching pad, I guess. For that
so in short, we are US based.
But does the agreement?
No, in short, your interpretation of that is that we are US based.
No,
so if two countries have conflict, the US can do that. Yeah. Sovereign Trinidad and Tobago will stand aside, and the US will just do that because we've signed an agreement where if two countries are in conflict, and I gather you will tell me that we're not in conflict. I don't know of any conflict that we are involved in. Right? Your interpretation there, and what you're trying to say is that because you didn't speak to Mr. Hines or because I didn't talk to your reporter, that makes this headline justifiable? Where is the evidence to support that? And why is it that this headline now runs counter to everything I've just said of our years of foreign policy and diplomacy when conflict was around us?
So I'd just like to clarify though, says that the SOFA agreement does not say what we understand that it says. That
it is not for me for you to misunderstand anything. What if what I say is how you understand it, it is what the fact is.
So it doesn't say that
you have published here the US can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago.
So the agreement does not say that the US can launch military personnel.
I am not engaging in any tutorial with you. I'm simply saying you show me the evidence that supports your Headline: Government signs agreement as White House ups pressure on Maduro. US can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago. You show me the support for that.
So the
And
agreement
don't
does
ask
not
me to
say anything
explain
about
it for you because you have a responsibility to understand what you're writing.
So that is not what the agreement. Just for clarification, that is not what the agreement.
I
says. It
am
does
not
say that can be
engaging
done.
in any tutorial with you. If you think that is what it is, publish it again.
It's not a matter of tutorial, Dr. Rowley. Just
Anybody else have a
clarifying.
question?
Mr. Prime Minister,
Yes,
good afternoon.
You know, the Prime Minister is absolutely right.
Yes.
You or your newspaper can publish something and they're asking for explanation after.
And then ask to explain it.
Your newspaper has to have the document that was signed and show where the document implied that or said that. I wouldn't say implied that, because at the end of the day, my understanding is that a sovereign country doesn't sign agreements that a country can just come in because there's a conflict next door.
Yes.
Because then you become a party to the conflict. You understand? So you can't. And you know, I thought about something this morning when I saw that. Very often, as it should be, when politicians put their foot in their mouth, the media ask for retraction and apology. Do you ever hear any media house getting asked an apology and a retraction like that?
No. But I want to tell.
You all printed a misleading headline.
Yeah. I want to warn.
Misleading headline.
Yeah. I still want to say there's a war. You see the war with the media? It's not a war politicians winning. You see, once you start, because the media, they are, especially people with agendas, can be extremely destructive.
Well, there's a presumption in that statement. Good morning, Mr. Ragoobarsingh.
Good morning, guys, and good morning to our listeners and viewers.
How are you?
Good. Are you talking about the Prime Minister's
exchange with Gregory?
at News, was it Newsday?
At Gregory.
Gregory's with Newsday, isn't it?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
It was with Newsday. No, it was Newsday that the headline was, not so?
Yes, it was Newsday.
About the base.
Yes, I stand corrected. The media does print retractions and apologies. But when you put a front page headline that is patently wrong, come out and say it was wrong.
Yeah.
Did the Newsday say it was wrong?
But if you say the US can launch a response to nearby conflict from Trinidad and Tobago, and that is not the foreign policy position, isn't that wrong?
No, I'm asking.
The Newsday, the Newsday didn't admit they were wrong.
Well, that's what I meant. Did they admit they were wrong?
No,
Did they
didn't.
print
As far as I
retraction?
know.
Well, they have to do that today or tomorrow.
No, they don't have to do anything.
No, I'm saying it would have been done either today or tomorrow because that article was yesterday.
Yes.
So after the press conference is when they would have to put the retraction in.
If they think they were wrong.
If you know how they'll do it, they'll couch it probably in an editorial, some little small box on some nondescript page. But they will justify that they did it. You understand?
But they would have to first acknowledge and acquiesce that they did print a misleading headline.
Well, again, if the agenda
as an editorial position,
if the agenda is meant to rile up the Prime Minister and the government, then it will that they will stick with that. If that's the agenda, they'll stick with it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. They said, okay, the Prime Minister is right.
No, I haven't
apologize and we are retracting.
I haven't seen an indication of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what basically I'm asking. Because the Prime Minister was very upset at that meeting yesterday. And he
had a response.
He used some very strong words, actually. Yeah, he used some very strong words.
We just played the clip.
Yeah.
So, I think, and it's not often that he comes to deal with one thing at a presser.
Yeah.
He came to deal with that one thing because of the implications of the headline.
Yes. Because as he was saying, if you are in Venezuela now and you're reading this and you're in negotiations with Trinidad and Tobago concerning oil and gas and so on, what would you think? And he's right. Could you imagine a country that has issues with the US reading something like that? You understand?
But you see, the implication is the U.S. They could say the implication the U.S. can, but they didn't say can with the permission of Trinidad and Tobago. They said can, as if it's a fait accompli.
What the article, what Newsday didn't do is show the history of this agreement. This is not nothing new.
They will say it's a headline, and you have to read down in the article.
Mm-hmm.
But the headline in and of itself has a particular connotation.
Yeah.
Which is not the whole picture, which is misleading.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because it
what was misleading?
It suggests that because it's in the context of the signing, it suggests that because of the signing, the US now has permission to use Trinidad and Tobago as a launching point to deal with nearby conflict. And that is not the position.
Richard, what was misleading was Paul coming here to my office, sitting in a chair in my office. He wasn't in Rumbox, it was in my office. Right where I'm sitting here now, I was sitting here when Paul came. Paul came, Richard, and if Paul spent an hour here, let's assume he spent an hour here because he said he spent an hour, right? For 55 minutes, Paul ate a roti. He ate that for 55 minutes. He spent eating that roti.
I'm a slow eater. I eat slowly.
Wait now. Let me finish. Don't interrupt me.
I don't gobble down the thing.
Eat roti. I don't know if it was bone chicken because you keep picking things out of it. He eat pieces of paper. Watch me. He was eating paper. Thing was falling from him.
I eat everything that nearby, you know.
I watched on in horror.
Now eating everything that's in the vicinity.
Watch me. I watched on in horror as he sat just obliquely opposite me, eating this roti, Richard, and every now and then something dropped from him and he picked it. Oh, listen.
I didn't leave it on the ground to dirty a place.
Hot Chop should be horrified that somebody could do the roti that. Horrified.
I thought you were going to say,
or close to my hand, I'm eating also paper.
I thought you were going to say that he didn't bring any roti for you, but he said
I offered him a roti and he did.
But that's what I was going to say. You said that you did offer, and he refused.
He said no. Someone already brought me lunch.
He actually did offer me a roti, but someone had already promised to bring me lunch, even though I didn't get it.
And I don't know that I have well brought up here. I'm not going to go. My mother and father would take us to friends' houses, and if we ask for something to drink, we get in clout on the way home. You know, so I am socialized that way. When you go to the house, they should ask you, "Would you care for something to drink?" Since I was coughing down the roti and half choking with the paper, you could have asked me if I wanted something to drink. He sell alcohol.
Hold on, He was also sipping from one of those Hot Shop drinks. Nobody buys drinks by Hot Shop. Those drinks are awful. Hot Shop drinks are awful. The best thing Hot Shop had at one point in time was a Moby, but nobody don't even buy that anymore.
Steve.
Yeah? The drinks are those powder things that they put in that machine and dispense it.
Upside down because there's really ice in the cup. Would you like a glass of water?
You know, it's a good thing I have a camera in here.
Yeah. Would you like something else to drink, Paul? Since I've come here in the Christmas season and with the spirit of joy and giving and the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ,
would you your timing was so bad that me and Hapa just fallen out.
Yeah, Steve, Richard, the timing was bad to offer me a glass of water. It was bad. I reached and he knew I come in since the morning.
No, actually, I was supposed to come to see you, if you remember.
Said, Wendell, I will come to you. And he knew I'm coming. He called me in between all of that, say, you're still coming? I said, yes, I'm 10 minutes away. And couldn't get up and get a glass of water and have it on standby for me.
Paul, do you know that when I called you the last time, I was actually in my vehicle heading towards the studio.
But
when I said, let me ask Paul where he reached.
I told you I'm coming to you.
Yeah, but you take too long to come.
I now see why you end up in problems with people.
No, you take too long to come. It's all right.
You had to give them a glass of water, sir. Common courtesy. No,
but we had an interesting conversation.
But I'm going to come back.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Out.
Come back with roti this time. You know, I'll not. I will not engage anyone else in anything to eat.
Yeah, and it was so it was disturbing. Then 12 people came into the office and they had beverages in their hand.
Well, look, they had a big.
And they went into the refrigerator and got beverages, and I still sat there choking on my roti.
It so happens you came to when there was a big, huge celebration for out there
with someone with drinks in their hand.
Someone with a birthday, they had a birthday line.
Richard, I left and I ran out across the pharmacy across the road to get a beverage to quench my thirst. So I didn't choke upon getting back into the vehicle because there was, it was so disturbing. It was emotionally distressing for me.
You were choking on the roti.
Yeah, but I didn't need the roti already, and I was a little embarrassed that I wasn't offered a glass of water to quench myself. Wash it down in a place that's called the Rum Box.
You was in MGM office, I tell you. You wasn't in Rum Box.
On the western road in St. James, heading west on the left side. At least I was allowed to park in the car park. I appreciate that very much in the driveway. And all you was celebrating someone's birthday with beverages in their hand.
You know, when people see them kind of big shot vehicle pulling in my driveway, they wonder who it is, and thing.
Okay.
Somebody must be happy on film right now.
You had another visitor after I left?
Yes?
You had another visitor after I left?
No. Well, I mean, we have had visitors with your types of vehicles coming here.
My types of vehicle? Okay. What is my type?
Big black security like looking vehicle.
A big black security type of vehicle. I like that. Keep going. A big black, parliamentary type security vehicle. That's what you understand next, right? Add that. A Cambridge Street type vehicle.
Yeah, them type.
Woodford Square type vehicle. You want to go down my road, right?
Them type.
Them type of vehicle. And nobody would know it's the smallest type of vehicles, you know.
Oh gosh.
I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Rumbox, barring the lack of a beverage offered. Wendell was excellent, an excellent conversationalist. I learned quite a few things that I didn't know before.
We might have to reveal it before the Christmas season.
Quite possibly. because screening is afoot.
Oh yes.
So I know the UNC had screenings last night also for St. Augustine. I'm sure Khadija Amin is going back there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Khadija is a favorite of
I think she's a good MP. I think she's a good MP. You know, who else? Aruka Maloney.
Who does screen for Arima, Richard?
I have no clue.
Aruka Maloney, W. O'Mara, and Lopino Bon-Air West.
So they do the East-West corridor.
I also saw a missive.
I know Arima for PNM is Penelope Beckles Robinson.
Yes.
I'm not so sure who the UNC's candidate is.
Randall Mitchell may be in the house next. You never know.
The Labre not serious.
I know. Anyway, Richard, do you have news?
Sorry, Labre can't be serious.
No, I don't actually. And
SOFA agreement has several clauses which include one that says the US can launch military personnel and machinery to countries.
Part of like a stick up in really.
Yes. One of my favorite sayings. I swear the Prime Minister listen to this show.
Hush your mouth. And I am not here to give you a tutorial. I am not here to give you a tutorial. Good morning, Gregory. Gregory is your boy. Gregory, you put up a valiant fight, but you see your body language, Gregory. Look at his body language. The body language didn't display confidence. Watch.
In conflict.
Shoulders down.
Ghana is also
I saw that. I was saying the same thing.
Then his shoulders still down. And when you see that finger point there.
Oh, that's it.
When you see that finger point there. And
watch out.
The head turn to you. Gird your loins, you know.
Yes.
Where did the petition come from?
Watch your face. Watch. They're trying to hope after that, you know.
Yeah, they have
when you get that look there, that is the X-Man looking. That is the laser coming out of the eyes there, you know.
Yeah, he's an expert in buffing, you know, trust me.
Well, when you see you get that, let me give it a little just now. See when you see that finger go up there? You see that? Watch.
That way.
Oh dear. That, you see that finger point when you see that nonsense. Stick up. See that? I dealing with you today. I come to deal with you. Even over, she just rock back. So
Everybody rock back.
everybody rock back.
Pastor Google sit down sideways watching and
Everybody
Gregory.
rock back at that point and say, not me and that today. All you on your own Newsday, all you on your own. Everybody rock back.
No, but they shouldn't. I mean, Gregory's the reporter, but he would not have been responsible for the headline.
Yeah, we come to defend it. So
yeah, you get that licks for the Newsday boy.
We come to defend it. Anyway, it's Friday the 13th of December, 2024. Let's start with the Express. Security officers die in accident. The tragic news we heard about. I think it happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, there was a video of one of the officers talking to somebody whilst he was stuck in the car. Oh.
We have to give kudos to the guy who was filming it, because he really had a soothing tone to the accident victim.
I didn't see it.
Don't worry, pal. They come in.
Yeah.
And I thought kudos to that individual. I saw the video. It was a sad video.
Families and colleagues, we send our condolences.
Of course.
Yeah.
Kamala blanks Griffith's call for party coalition. Well, you know he had the war part today, right? PM, call it dangerous incompetence. Of course, we just played the clip. Pilots accept additional 4%. 2 held in Tobago drug bust. A man held with cocaine. And what's next for Hines? An expose by Jassy Gonzalez. So, Richard, would you care to avail us of the Guardian?
Oh, I don't have the Guardian today. I'm back at pull it up online.
Too late. You didn't know you had to put a blood. Kamala in alliances is the Guardian with 3 political parties, 5 trade unions. Kamala accuses government and EBC of collusion on late voter lists. Government increases funding for unsponsored steel bands and players for Carnival 2025. Charlotte Street vendors split on proposed arrangement. TNTech cascade of events led to power outage in Tobago. There was quite a significant power outage for a short while in Tobago yesterday. Rape victim to pursue appeal over delay in prosecuting alleged attacker. NTA says it will mind its business amid coalition talks. Raleigh denies TNT allowing U.S. troops to set up base. PM defends inbound Tobago airport cost over an error. And we will move to the Newsday now. Newsday come up now. Right. Kamala wants details about Trinidad and Tobago U.S. agreement. Policeman prays for helping injured Chaguanas boy. Police and rapid relief team distribute food hampers to the needy. IDA chastises Chief Secretary for calling PM house slave. What the status of forces agreement so far? And a question mark. Of course, this is the Newsday following yesterday's buffing. PM Trinidad Tobago will not house U.S. troops for Venezuelan conflict. Kamala UNC seeking coalition of interest to remove PNM. And Chief Secretary give children books for Christmas. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Friday, the 13th of December, 2024.
All righty. Thank you, Paul. All right, let's get into this, the results of our morning poll, where we asked you yesterday, and my mouse stick again. Oh, here we go. All right, got it to work. I don't know why this mouse keeps sticking. All right, so we asked you yesterday, are you getting satisfactory services from your local government representative or representatives? 79% said nahi.
Richard, Ajarim called me yesterday after they heard you. I mean, they say, Wendell boy, what we could do, boy, because they agree with you. Eh? They say, what we could do about Arima, boy. I say, well, there's nothing really,
Richard has
too late.
Richard has time on his hands. He has to be the mayor.
I say, right now, you can't do nothing about the bunch that there.
But yes, the study campaign now.
I see
They'll
they
do
had a
campaign
meeting.
management.
I see there was a meeting of the business community and the mayor and the parliamentary representative and the IDB, I think, concerning the
Smart city thing.
the connected ARIMA thing, and also the issues of, I suppose, the issues of security and crime would have cropped up. That entire connected ARIMA thing, the marketing of it is terrible, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. That's what we do on this program. I think it's terrible. I think the vast majority of the purchases of ARIMA have no clue what you can, how is it going to be utilized beyond the Wi-Fi, and some have complained to me that they don't find it's reliable. But I just put it down to teething problems. That's how I put it down. I said I'll give it a chance and see. I know they talked about the 15-minute limit you have, and then you're kicked off. And they said, I know in that meeting they said that they would probably revisit it depending on what. Apparently they don't want. According to the article I saw, apparently they didn't want people to stream movies or something like that. So we'll see how it all plays out. But the decorating of ARIMA is terrible. There is no love. There's no love for ARIMA. I suppose if you had to sum it up, Wendell and Paul and Steve, that's what I would say. You don't get the impression there is any love for how ARIMA looks, and any love and passion and energy to making ARIMA better. I think
yeah. As I said the other day, it has to be led. It has to be led by either, well, in this case, the mayor or the MP, but it has to be led. Somebody has to lead this thing and say, listen, let's get this place looking festive. You understand? And I'm sure
we gotta get into our poll, gentlemen.
Yeah, all right. So go ahead with the poll. We'll get into that after.
The question is up. Do you think the UNC will officially form a coalition with other parties and unions? But didn't they do that yesterday?
No, they said it's a coalition of interest. There's no.
It's not official.
It's not official
either. Yeah.
No.
They're having talks.
Without the NT.
And a coalition would suggest that other parties may fight other seats under the same banner as the People's Partnership Bill.
Well, that's what she kind of hinted to, that they hold off on screening to talk.
Well, that's why the question is phrased the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, give your opinion after.
All right. So once again, our morning poll, start calling 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. WhatsApp at 318-1021. Again, our morning poll question, Richie Rich.
Do you think the UNC will officially form a coalition with other parties and unions to fight the 2025 general elections? Of course, the key word here is officially. So do you think they will officially form a coalition with other parties and unions to fight the 2025 general elections? That's our poll this morning. You can give us your point of view.
So John Cato says, yeah, it's been a while, John. Boy Bedesi, yes. Anthony Miguel, no. Julia S. Batiste, yes. Cheryl Henry, yes. Jean Clark, yes. Let's move across to WhatsApp. Let's see. We got Roger Seawing, yes. Captain Ron, no. Vincent in the UK, yes. Okay, right, let's go back here. I did Jean Clark, Michael Gradison, yes. Wayne Lala, yes. Richard P. Knight, yes. Rena Boodoo Jennings, yes. Clint Batiste, yes. DL, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. David Wares, morning, Cheryl. Yes. Just Lincoln, just yes or no. Trini get fit. Yes. Thank you, Lincoln. Yes. Anthony Tinto. Yes. Michael Robinson. Yes. David Nelson. Yes. All right. Good morning, GNC Auto Security. Let's see. Michael Robinson. Derek Downing. Yes. Wayne Bennett. Yes. Sangre Grande. Sorry, say again. Thank you. Good morning. Morning, Gasparello. Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best.
Yeah, we didn't hear it, huh?
She said yes. I did Wayne Bennett saying yes. I think I did. Carol Guevara, yes. Anne-Marie out in Enterprise. Yes. Morning, Anne-Marie. Carol Guevara. Do you think the UNC will officially form a coalition with other parties and unions to fight the 2025 general elections? That's a poll. James says yes. Is that Camus? Okay. Yes or no? Call 222-8255. Good morning. Morning. Thank you.
I'm not hearing what they're saying, Steve.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We're not hearing the calls.
Yeah, I just realized that. I don't know how that was depressed. Let's see. Jim Clint. Anderson Matthews, yes. Jay Bond, yes. Roger T, yes. Shuma Paul, out in Kurapit, Chima. Morning to you, Shum. Yes. Colin Johnson, yes. Right. Kenny in Harlem, yes. Right. You have a minute and a bit to vote on our poll before Evie walks in for major news. All right. Oops, I should do this by the time. Rennie Devines, yes.
I'm sure Mrs. Prasad Bisasa will be open to an interview now. So could someone of you try?
Because you close, sister, you should try. you already just said earlier on that you're going to join the UNC.
Yeah. Anytime she put any one of them that six a call here, who leading them parties along the East-West corridor, and they win. So in other words, I ain't joined them before. It had to be that they contest a seat.
You know they win. You say if you put it before, it was just contest.
No, I said if they win any seat along the East-West corridor.
They did say they win.
Yeah, they had to win.
DJ Reed says yes.
Gavin Nicholas, tired contest and loss. Philip Alexander, tired contest and loss. Who else? Could Senate, I ain't sure if he contests a seat. The Congress or the person thing. Hope. I'm not sure Timothy Amos, but I don't think he ever contests a seat.
Well, you
right?
never know. It's only one. You only need one. Is first past the post. He might jump over the post.
They jumping over railings already.
Hope was part of the.
No, they won't. No, but they won't. But they sent a release. Mrs. Teixeira sent a release saying that it doesn't mean that they're not part of the consideration because they didn't attend the meeting.
And when you answer Roger, I want he to go Diego Martin West. Since he liked to insult the Prime Minister on this, go Diego Martin West. Contest down there.
Gentlemen, it's time to get into our major news. Let's do that right now. Evie's in Hillbab is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Government warns a newspaper article claiming U.S. can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago could have serious implications. implications. UNC begins efforts to forge alliances with smaller political parties and prominent trade unions ahead of general elections. NTA's Gary Griffith questions Kamala's motive behind alliance talks. Talpa welcomes the signing of its collective agreement, and Social Welfare Ministry warns against fraudulent grant checks. Details in a moment. This is News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel Bab. Good morning. Irresponsible and incompetent is how the government described a daily newspaper headline which stated U.S. can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago. Government signs agreement as White House ups pressure on Maduro. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said this country's position of non-interference and non-intervention in other nations' internal affairs has always been the stance taken by the Trinidad and Tobago government and has been publicly indicated in the past. He questioned where and how the newspaper in question came up with this story.
When this article was published, immediately the entire CARICOM becomes concerned because it is so far from what Trinidad and Tobago represents and has represented in recent years, months, and days. Where did this come from? When this shows up in Caracas, where did this come from? When it shows up on the internet all the way around the world, this little island nation is making its territory available to the United States to threaten Venezuela? Is that what the editors think? And in the event that there's any deterioration in Venezuela, you believe that Trinidad and Tobago will be a staging post for that?
On Tuesday, Commander of U.S. Southern Command Admiral Alvin Halsey and Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines signed the Southcom Human Rights Initiative at the Diplomatic Center, Port of Spain on December 10th. Speaking at the weekly post-cabinet news briefing on Thursday, Dr. Rowley warned the consequences from this article could have serious implications. Dr. Rowley said while this country has entered various agreements in the past relating to bilateral security arrangements, it does not mean that they can be used to accommodate outside military intervention if there is instability in Venezuela.
The SOFA, State of Forces Agreement, that's a standard agreement. That is what allows our soldiers and our Coast Guard people to interact with the United States people. You have to have an agreement. All those agreements are time sensitive. They're required to be renewed. They're required to be established. None of them have anything to do with staging any military force from our country to anybody else's country. None of it. There's nothing that was said there by Admiral Halsey, by Minister Hines, by myself, or by anybody in the government that we have changed our position. So this headline is now available to make news.
The political climate is heating up after the United National Congress yesterday began efforts to forge alliances with smaller political parties and prominent trade unions to take on the ruling People's National Movement in the next general election. The parties include the Progressive Empowerment Party, led by Philip Edward Alexander, the Movement for National Development, headed by former Attorney General Garvin Nicholas, and the Congress of the People. The labor groups are the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, the Public Services Association, the PSA, Transport and Industrial Workers Union, TIWU, Trinidad and Tobago Postal Workers Union, and the Fire Services Association. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar convened separate meetings with the groups ahead of screenings for 5 key constituencies yesterday: Arima, Aruka Maloney, Darby O'Meara, Lopino Borea West, and St. Augustine at the UNC's headquarters in Chaguanas. Persad-Bissessar highlighted the strength of the new coalition, insisting that it will be even better than the 2010 People's Partnership. National Transformation Alliance political leader Gary Griffith has questioned what he described as an attempt by United National Congress political leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar to fool the population into believing the UNC is forming a genuine political alliance with other entities to win the next general election. The PEP has aligned itself with the UNC but has not formally announced it is forming an election alliance with it. At Labor Day celebrations in Faizabad on June 19th, OWTU President General Ansel Roger and PSA President Leroy Batiste spoke about a national front alliance between the labor movement and political parties opposed to the PNM, including the UNC. The NTA was not included in the meeting. In a statement before the meeting, Griffith said, quote, "Amazing that pop-up parties have now become relevant to the UNC. It is also amusing that a party that said the nastiest things about her during and after local government elections and promised to do everything to ensure UNC never gets into government she wants to work with Yet another party, NTA, that worked with her during local government elections and sent official correspondence to her to meet, she has refused. Not surprising. End quote. The NTA had an alliance with the UNC for last August local government elections, which ended in a 7-7 tie between the PNM and UNC. While it won no districts in those elections, the NTA got an alderman on the Diego Martin Borough Corporation. The Trinidad and Tobago Airline Pilots Association, TALPA, has welcomed the signing of its collective agreement after a period of impasse and peaceful picketing. Caribbean Airlines on Wednesday announced that the 2015 to 2020 collective agreement is finally signed for 4%. The signing followed a news conference held by TALPA on Monday, who at the time accused the CAL board of hijacking the negotiation process. Industrial Relations consultant Timothy Bailey, who represented TALPA at the news conference, told the Express yesterday that the association is happy with the signing of the collective agreement and thinks that it is timely. Additionally, Bailey is hopeful that CAL will move ahead in signing the 2020 to 2023 collective agreement, for which the Ministry of Finance has already approved an additional 4%. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. There is an increase in reports of counterfeit checks targeting senior citizens' pension, as well as disability and public assistance grants. Supermarkets, groceries, and district revenue offices are being asked to exercise heightened vigilance while processing grant checks. The caution comes from the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. It is advising all financial institutions to be alert in the processing of grant checks. The ministry urges all vendors and financial institutions to undertake rigorous verification processes before accepting checks for payment, as enhanced scrutiny is essential to safeguard businesses from losses due to fraudulent transactions. Any suspected presentation of counterfeit checks should be reported immediately to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The ministry encourages grant recipients to register for direct deposit services. This secure payment method ensures clients receive their grants promptly and eliminates exposure to fraudulent check activity. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy with few light to moderate showers and periods of sunshine. There's a low chance of the isolated heavy shower or thunderstorm. Partly cloudy spells with showers will interrupt fair conditions overnight. Gusty winds and street flooding can occur in the event of heavy downpours. You can expect a temperature high of 31 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 24 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco and Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, government warns a newspaper article claiming U.S. can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago could have serious implications. UNC begins efforts to forge alliances with smaller political parties and prominent trade unions ahead of general elections. NTA's Gary Griffith questions Kamala's motive behind alliance talks. TALPA welcomes the signing of its collective agreement, and Social Development Ministry warns against fraudulent grant checks. I'm Afril Sidhill Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you so much, Avi, for our major news. You can join her again at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Let's see. I know there's an accident. Yep, there is an accident on Lady Young Road. And that is just by Second Caledonia. All right, let's see if we have any more accidents. We had one on the bus route by Mount Hope. I don't know if that is cleared yet. And there was one by Trinity. It looks like that's cleared. All right, so there you go. Right. Good. Okay, let's see if we have any more votes in our morning poll. We had DJ Ray. We had Slick Money Grip saying yes. Royalty Forever saying yes. All right. That's what we got.
All right. So our poll this morning was, do you think the UNC will officially form a coalition with other parties and unions to fight the 2025 general elections? We had 39 people voting on the poll in the allotted time. Of the 39 people, we had 37 people saying yes and 2 people saying no. So, of course, the vast majority of people voting this morning think that this coalition will happen, will be formalized going into the 2025 elections. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day.
Mona says yes.
What's the results you have there, Richard?
37-2. And
37-2. Wow.
Yeah, so of course, continuing to vote on this poll throughout the day through our programming. We'll give you the final results on Monday morning.
Well, logically, if you think about it, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar became prime minister in a coalition. For 2 elections with the UNC, solo Mio in 2015 and 2020, and lost both. So one would imagine, one would take a look strategically and see where and how you were successful and try to recapture that situation. Not so?
Yeah, but you were success. She was successful. You had a lady groundwork for the success in 2010, in that there was a government under Patrick Manning that called an early election. But Kamala Prasad-Bissessar had only just 5 months before become the leader of the UNC under a contentious election. You understand? In January of 2024. By April of 2024, Patrick Manning called an election 2.5 years earlier, and they got together.
But
you understand?
What I'm saying is, even with that, and you're right, that is to be considered. But when you look at the track record of running solo by under Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar, it has not been successful.
Well, they've improved in terms of the 2 elections. You understand? But I hear you.
I think in the second election, I think the PNM dealt themselves an own blow by running Gypsy in that seat.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I am saying the only way, it's clear the only way that they could remove the PNM is by coming together. Even if it's pretend coming together, it's clear that that's the only way it could be done.
What is
you
pretend
understand?
coming together?
Because it's a pretense.
What does that mean? I'm trying to explain yourself. I don't understand what that means.
Which one of those people you saw there yesterday could bring any sort of votes in any way, in any tangible way, to make, how I should put it, a success of the UNC? The UNC seats are safe seats. They're not in danger of losing any of those seats, you know. They don't need
the electorate. I believe the electorate will decide.
But what they want is this illusion that all these unions are with us now. The MND, Gavin and his 9 family members, Philip Alexander, and I don't know who else he have, Congress of the person, PSA. It's an illusion they're creating.
Let me ask you another question, and based on it, do you think eventually she will accommodate Gary Griffith?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, because Gary Griffith, probably out of all of them, brings some kind of, Gary Griffith has rubbed people the wrong way sometimes, but at least I think he is genuine about his concern, especially for crime and so on. I think he was, and I think he still is. So Gary Griffith, to me, will bring that and Gary Griffith is liked by a lot of people still, regardless. Who liked Philip Alexander? Who liked Philip Alexander?
What do you think would have been the reason that okay, Michael Oliver, you've just earned yourself a block for using the obscene.
Oh, I can't see the chat, unfortunately. I can't see the chat.
Right. You could have strong statements, but leave the obscenities out.
You cussing me?
No, not you.
Oh.
No, that's comment itself.
You could have very, very strong political views, but leave the obscenities out. Yeah. What do you think would have been the catalyst for her moving away from the NC and moving closer to the PEP? Because Philip Alexander was just like Guy Griffith, just like many of them at some point, except Gavin Nicholas, in stark condemnation of Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar in many ways.
And I don't know why Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar herself putting herself through that too either, you know. With people like Philip Alexander and him, I don't know why she putting herself through that. You already distanced yourself.
Wendell, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And as Deo Pandey once said, and is now famously quoted, politics has a morality of its own, and the end justifies the mean. All those things, it's politics. In politics, look at the people who would have gone up against Joe Biden, including Kamala Harris.
Yeah, now that's what
Look at
I'm
people who
saying.
condemned Donald Trump and now running to his side and praising him. Time magazine named him the man of the year the day before yesterday.
Mm.
You understand? So
Yeah.
look at Scarborough and his wife, Ton, on MSNBC. People, that's the nature of politics.
The best thing Kamala Prasad did that she has successfully done thus far, in my opinion, is keep people like Arnold Roberts and David Nackett far away from campaigning. That's the best thing she has done so far. But bring in Philip Alexander and Ansel Rouge and them, who all rub people the wrong way. You're gonna bring them, but better you bring back Arnold and Nackett.
Well, they're just there for the opportunity.
Huh?
They're just there for the opportunity.
But at least Nackett and Arnold are genuinely UNC. Them fellas, they know UNC. Them fellas that I'm going to do and ride on she coattail and hope to get something after, And she better get them something because them not easy, Them just drag Kaufman, burn effigy and thing, All right. I hope she know what she getting into. She don't need them, in my opinion. But again, as I said, I'm sure they will all come together with that illusion and may the best person win at the end of the day. All they're going to do is probably make it easier again for the PNM. Because nobody is going to buy. They will remember 2010. They will remember 2011. They will remember at state of emergency.
Oh, no.
They will remember all those things. They will remember 25 cabinet ministers being removed. They will remember the MSJ, David Abdullah, going on a platform and saying all kind of things. They will remember the man from NJAC, what was his name again? God rest his soul. Makandal Daga say, boy, the thiefing like if they make any money. There will be people who remember all that. All those things are going to be regurgitated. All because you feel coming together now. We'll get rid of the PNM. Save this country. Please, PNM need to save themselves.
From
themselves.
From what you told me yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. What you told me yesterday?
PNM need to fix themselves. That's what they need to do.
What do you think PNM, on a serious note, what do you think the PNM most needs to fix?
They need to fix the communication with the people. They need to fix that issue that when they need to recognize when they are doing things that are robbing even their own supporters the wrong way. Stop it. Reverse it. It does not matter. The country is more important to me than your pension and your increase at the end of the day. The country has to be more important than that. Okay? So if everybody thinking of them, yes, if everybody thinking of themselves, which is how I see it happened it happened before, where everybody want to make sure their status as an MP remain. You understand? But to hell with whatever happened after. Well, you might go back there as an MP, like poor who last time Neil Pasanlal and what's the man from St. Joseph name who was a very good MP and minister too. He was a priest. Yeah, Swarat Singh.
Swarat Singh.
Yes, all of them had
What
the best intention. I don't know. Them Palestinians were decimated and destroyed. And all a lot of these MPs want to do now is make sure they go back in the seat. They don't care. It upsets me no end,
All right. So that, gentlemen, is to let the folks know that issue on Lady Young Road is going to take a lot longer. Avoid it as much as you can.
Lady Young Road.
Lady Young, I sent you what it is.
Oh no, okay, I can't look at the phone.
Right.
It's a blockage of some kind.
An individual hog-tied, not moving.
Huh?
What?
Somebody threw out, apparently somebody threw out an individual that is dead, hog-tied.
What?
It's
in the road?
Yeah.
What part of the Young Road?
This is by Second Caledonia and Massey.
Oh.
Massey on the Young Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're coming from Huddersfield, the Massey, the car dealership.
Oh, that area. Okay.
Yeah. After you pass Massey and you're heading towards Mova, it's between there and the corner.
Wow.
Well, they have a lot of space there. That road is wide in that area there. So why they can't maneuver around that?
Well,
the road is pretty wide in that area.
With forensics.
If police are there, they would have blocked off a significant part of the roadway.
Yeah,
if the body or the person is on one side.
Yeah. And if you have kids in the car, don't pass there.
Wow.
That's terrible.
But they have a lot of cameras there too.
They have a lot of cameras there.
Yeah,
it has a north, south, east, west kind of intersection area there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's terrible.
Anyway, let me say belated birthday greetings to Miss Lystra Park. I clean forgot on Wednesday because I was using my phone. So Lystra Park, if you're listening, I don't know what part of the world you're in, former Deputy CEO of Port of Spain Corporation. She celebrated her birthday on Wednesday. And I only got the message from Charmaine after I closed up my phone from doing the program. So Lystra, happy birthday from the Power Breakfast Show and certainly from Charmaine in New York.
But Steve is not only hogtied, it seems also to be the person looks like they have a gunshot wound to the head.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that detail.
Well, I mean, if they're hogtied and a body in the road, what is the difference in texting?
Yeah,
a lot of blood flowing from them. So this person, this is a body. This is not a person who's alive, in my opinion.
Wow.
This is
forensic there.
Somebody who was tortured before he was
killed. Oh yeah.
Wow. This is very graphic.
Yeah, don't pass there. Just to avoid Lady on Road. Just don't pass with the children. Just avoid Lady on Road.
What is the level of brazenness?
Yeah.
Of the criminal element that you would put that on a major thoroughfare. You'd put that body on a major thoroughfare.
Was this? That's a message.
Well, a message to whom?
Well, to whoever, but it's a message.
A message to whom?
To whoever, I guess his associates are.
And will the TTPS call a press conference to deal with that issue?
Yeah.
Richard, since when you're so sarcastic? You're not a sarcastic. You're not someone of sarcasm.
Obviously, this is something you need to have a press conference for.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
In a first world thing,
because it's one thing hearing a body found on the side of a cliff or wherever they find bodies, on the swamp or wherever. It's another thing for it to be found on a major thoroughfare entering the city of Port of Spain, or for people exiting or entering the city of Port of Spain.
And it's a residential area also.
Yes,
it's a residential area. A lot of on both sides of the Lady Young Road, highly residential, and that is that's a message. When you have somebody hogtied in that horrible manner and shot in the head and put in the road for passers-by to see, that is a message someone is sending to, I guess, a rival gang, if that is the case. So something that is not by guess. Very unfortunate. And yes, they would cordon off that part of the road to run investigations.
Well, unfortunate is the wrong adjective, you know. It is a ridiculous and absurd and horrible level of depravity beyond the murder of whoever that was.
I think it's evil.
But to put it to put the body on a major thoroughfare is a next level of depravity.
And it's also, you know what it also shows too? That in spite of that busy area, that clearly have a lot of cameras, they don't fear being caught.
Exactly.
That's true.
You understand?
That is true.
That's why I'm saying the TTPS needs to address it.
But they ain't gonna happen.
They have to address it because it indicates all of that. If you didn't want a middle finger to the National Security Services of Trinidad and Tobago, this is it.
Well, yes, the entire criminal justice system.
I'm not even getting into the judiciary. I'm talking about the basic issue of being caught, which is a National Security Service issue.
Yeah, because let's face it, Lady Young have plenty places you could go without being seen. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
And you go in the most public of places on the Lady Young and do that.
What level that is? There should be press conferences being called immediately. There should be a press conference being sorted out for 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time this morning, including from the Minister of National Security.
One of the two, at least.
This is thousands of people commuting on that road, including children and citizens of this country, including visitors.
Yeah, so it's Hilton down the road.
The message is, we don't care about you, and this is how we feel about your system.
Yeah.
Whoever we want, we won't get caught.
Middle finger. You understand? That's what that says.
That's what me like, guys.
And we can do what we want.
Yeah.
That's what that says.
I'm sure Lincoln, Miss Sampson, Miss Mendoza, and Miss.
Yeah, but let's open the lines to new callers as well. First time callers. Let's do that. 2255 toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Let's welcome some listeners that have been on the fence and have not called. You can call now. You know, if you have never called, we appreciate you calling.
Yeah, these days might be good days to call. I have to real bite my tongue these next few days, you know.
As opposed to somebody else biting it.
Nobody can possibly even come close.
Let's go. Good morning, but let's keep it called short and sweet. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, fellas. I just go to the Richard. That thing with Arima and as any other song is an urban planning issue. And I can remember at one time you were having this conversation about Tunapuna, and my suggestion was always that if we design a pathway or give them templates that as in a 10 or 5 to 10 years development, as people do constructions and renovations, there's a plan that they could think. So over time, the city evolves into a palpable. And I think when people can see the city evolving, they like the idea of it evolving in that way, you buy into the long-term vision of your city. And it's a design issue. And it's interesting that Penelope Beckles is the Minister of Planning. And this application of how we could turn around cities has never been attempted, but I think it's the struggle for people to understand that idea of how it can happen. The closest they came to it is the City for Education. This is from Cora to Mount Hope, which was a thing, and where they wanted to negotiate with the businesses along the way and how we could apply. I think it was supposed to have the bus stops and they didn't have to use cars. So you could drive around Tunapuna, Senegal, and they still see the bus up signs. And they never really invested in it as an education, but it's still on paper as something to be used. But I think it's not just about festive putting up lights. I know that's part of it, but it's how you see a city and a vision. Because I walk into Arima, Samoa, people, when they're renovating, they add in all kind of interferences in the pathways. They have all kind of jutting out stairs, these things. People, the whole planning has been thrown out of our window, and we have left it up to people to just plan. But if you give everybody an idea of if you go in and renovate, you put this and you can put a thing so and your building can look this way and it could move. And I think that is something, and that's a design issue. That's architecture, as landscape designers, architects, and all these people supposed to be in the conversation. But granted, our architect fraternity is lazy, and they don't do proper conversation with the general. The last time they had a congress was a long time. They're having an urban planning conference in Trinidad next year. And I think, so I think once it is something that, but politicians, and I have worked with politicians around aesthetics and design for them to get it, local government. Wendell, I did East Mova, La Hoqueta, Freeport. I was with Dr. Tawari. And the hardest thing is for people to get it. But this one thing I know about it is that communities, people want something different. But the politicians and the bureaucrats and the councillors, they are very much in a daft. They really kind of very interesting politician with power, and they feel they don't have any power to make decisions, and as all kind of weird, kind of, yeah, man. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks for that. I mean, I get you, and I understand what you mean. Yeah. But there has to be some plan of how your city looks, how your town looks, and you should start coordinating what is happening. This is along the lines you need to go, because this is how we want it to look, and there is no reference point to that at all. At all.
All right. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. I have things to say. Arima is really way behind in terms of development. Right? Because imagine lost that got a library within a short space of time. Arima have nothing to show after so many years. And I'm not only talking about under this 5 years of the records, but throughout. And I also want to say, Pinto Road Arima, Freedom Street corner, right? That is like the dump now, because I passed there last night, and if you see the load of garbage, we reached out to our councillor, Mr. Roger Moore, and it's only a bunch of excuses. We raised this earlier this year in July, and nothing is being done, right? So local government, again, according to Mr. Wendell, local government reform, it's just a farce. It's just a sham. And the last thing I want to say, Mr. Until I don't was hard. Listen.
All right, we lost you in the last.
You cannot broke up at the end there. So.
The last thing you wanted to say, and that's where we lost you. All right. 222-8255. North Americans, toll free 866-525-1099. Give us a call if you're a first time caller. Well, if you haven't called, you want to call. Now is your opportunity. All right, we'll take regular calls, but what is this here now? Jeez.
Well, that Pinto Road rubbish that you're talking about, the Arima Borough Council should be able to deal with that, because Pinto Road is part of the borough of Arima. I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure, Richard. I think that might be sour. I'm Dabadeo. Yeah, I mean,
part of Pinto is a part of Pinto is Arima Borough. Another part it changes into
Piaco.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah, that arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Say what?
I said earlier in the week that Santa Rosa needs to be part of Arima.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Another accident on Chase Village on Uriah Butler Highway. Please take your time on the road. That is northbound. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm calling. I'm concerned about that Tobago autonomy bill. And I think that in our life we wouldn't see that, because I think Tobago is too parochial in how they go about their business. Because if one person wants something, the other person don't feel that is not good enough for Tobago, and it's going wrong and wrong. Because I think that they're thinking as though that Tobago needs separation to a certain point, but like Trinidad must have nothing to do with it. But it's Trinidad and Tobago. So they connected, as they say, connected by the hip. So whatever you do, son, and whatever Tobago feel that they want, they wouldn't get that. And so it will go wrong. And in our lifetime, we wouldn't see that autonomy for Tobago based on how it is moving. Because you could ever think of it and say that a Trinidadian could be the head of the Tobago House of Assembly. You would never have that. But you would think that a Tobagonian could lead Trinidad and Tobago. A Tobagonian could lead the judiciary, and so on. So things like that, it will never happen in our lifetime based on how Tobago is and the parochialism. Thanks.
Yep.
Right.
Well said, caller. You sound like a new caller, too.
Good
You have
morning.
it spot on there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
The caller is so right, and that's why I told the Prime Minister they have to think about scrapping that, because they are zealous ambitious, selfish men, and everybody feels they want to be the premier. They want a big name, and they want to drive around it with a big black car without riders, and you want to, you know. So it's the splendor, the pomp and, you know, glory that they want, while they're not thinking about anybody else. So they have people chasing up their head, but it's the 2 seats that is up for grabs in Tobago, and let them chain up. And when the others get whoever get the 2 seats, because that's what UNC want. When they get it, they're going to get, and I'm just like Pamela Nichols and Anna Robinson. Let them go ahead. That is what they want. So let them take chain up and talk about boundaries and oil and gas and all nonsense. They don't have fighting between them and Barbados for flying fishes. Oil they're talking about. They have illusions of grandeur. Farley has illusions, suffering from illusions of grandeur. It will never happen in our lifetime. Let them continue playing the fool. Thank you.
Good morning.
Autonomy for Tobago is akin to local government reform. People mightn't like me saying that, but that's how I feel about it. It'll be a political football back and forth by all governments. But Tobago though is protected by the Constitution. Local government is not. And I maintain that issue of local government reform, unless they make local government part of the Constitution, we are wasting time.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
When I concur, local government reform is a hoax. The manholes on them by me still open and still susceptible to somebody falling in it. Anywho, reference to this claim that my caller talk about Tobago. It's not only Tobago doing that, you know. If you look at all the protective services, all of them want to be in parallel with government ministers. All of them want $750,000 cheap to drive in. They want escort. They want blue lights. All of them aspire to be in parallel with government ministers, especially the Defense Force. They are chief culprits of it, right? But I do support that thing about going back to Ministry of Tobago Affairs or something like that. Tobago, just similarly to what Richard said about Arima needs somebody from Arima to represent Arima. I feel that sentiment should apply to Tobago as well. And Tobago should have people from Tobago seeing about the issues of Tobago, hence the THA, right? And you see the money that is allotted for them, give them the money when the budget is read, and let them paddle their own canoe. They want autonomy, let them paddle their own canoe. As a matter of fact, let them be responsible for both of them. So when the both of them shut down, you don't blame central government, you blame Tobago for that. Right? Give them the autonomy, and let me see. All children want to go by themselves and live by themselves, and they want to run away, you know. Give them that play, and let me see how far they will get with the autonomy.
Well, Watson Duke went so far during the last THA election. They said we want secession. I reminded him about that 2 days ago, but he didn't seem to remember. He kind of brushed it off. But secession he called for. We don't want Trinidad. We don't want nothing to do with Trinidad.
Right.
That's what he used to say. Ah, Lord. I'm tired, yes?
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. Good morning, Wendell. And
Morning, morning, Miss Valerie.
Morning.
So here it is, huh? You know, Mr. Pandey's speech of morality, politics has a morality of its own, should be posted on every political party's headquarters as we get the leader. Because Mr. Pandey was so correct. Because you see that with Mr. Kamala Prasad, he says, I think I just when I looked at the news last night, I see desperation. Imagine a man like Roger literally didn't use obscene language against you, but it could have been that worse to me than obscene language against you, and you still hugging up. And the PSA, is the PSA a political body now? Just so? So, you see all of these things? Oh gosh, I can't believe it. One time for my life since I listened to Gary Griffith, I agreed. Strangely, I agreed with Gary Griffith, but what he said, first time in my life I agree with him with anything. I hope that is not a sign of things to come. So, and the next point, Wendell, I want to find out something. Wendell's people, regional corporation, imagine that on our street, regional corporation and people doing work, right? But here it is, since September, October, November, and now December, last Monday here, they have been cleaning up whatever they get, the grass cuttings and the silt from the drain and so on, put it in bags, and October, cuttings still there. November, cuttings still there, and they came Monday, and the worst part is Monday, in all the rain, all the silt is go back in the drain after they don't do all of that, so they gain more silt now. Grass, silt, they put it at the side of the road, road of both sides, so both houses have dirt. So when you're driving out in a mound of dirt and so on. You can't put that up yet. And I have been asking my counselor, it's only today, I'm not going to use up the language, but I gave him a good piece of my mind, that this thing hasn't been picked up since October, and one of the mounds, it had like gravel. So when who else I could call? Who else?
Well, you're backing up the right tree. Yes, your local government will be the first point of contact. I mean, it has to be a local government issue to remove those things.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't care if you're listening now.
Who's your counselor?
Chat. Stefan. Who? I can't remember his surname because Stefan. I can't remember his name. Stefan something.
Watley?
Watley. Oh, that is
okay.
Correct. Let me tell you something. I say it on air. Stefan Watley, I'm saying it on air. And I don't care what you say or do or write. I wrote it last time about the fast food. He put up in the chat and he said, the chat is not for things like that. So I want to know what a community chat is all about. But you know, if you are the way you want to take out my name, right? I say, remove my name, but he's not the administrator, of course. So on my chat, on this radio station, so what I am saying, I don't care. I live in here. Right now, I'm outside just for garbage. The mud flattening. Got a lot of rain yesterday. Some going back down in the part of the drain. We don't have a proper road and proper drainage. Some going on in it again. A tired complaint. When I was on social program calling regularly about this, nothing doing. Mr. That Watley man, don't do nothing. He could say it loud now. He does not do anything. Everybody here is fed up of him, you know. But it's because the activist in me, I do the talking. So I want to find out something again, Wendell. Can I stop? I'm planning to, but tell me. I don't know if I could get charged, Richard. You know, the next time CPEP or they come in to cut grass, you know what I plan to do? Park my car right in the middle of my road, where my driveway is, for when they come to cut, so they will not cut the last 6 houses going down to the end of the street. Because
they might cut and bust your glass. Don't take that chance.
No, and I'm going to do, you know why? And I stand up right there. I am going to, nobody, other people, the other neighbors don't want the things cut by them neither, you know, because they're messing up the wall. I just get it's about talking and I'm real mad about this. I am really upset. And if it's in the mud right now, I just outside there, I'm still outside talking to you all. Mud flattened with car tire, both of the road. So whoever hear me, you don't care what you say, all right? I will continue to write because this is the activist in me. You all have a good weekend.
Miss Val, take some pictures of it too and send it WhatsApp or email.
I'll send it to you. Actually, yes, take pictures. I go and take it how it's flattened out.
Yes, do that. Always good to have the picture evidence. Yeah.
And I'll send them to you. Yes. Okay then.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Wow. Miss Dabadi getting on bad. She worse than me, boy. Miss Dabadi, go to your MP. Try your MP and see if you could get that situation resolved. Right? I did it. Well, I'm still waiting to see if they will come and cut it because I'm going back in the MP office if you see by next week, then come and cut them trees in the Digo Mountain River. I want to tell Dr. Rowley, you will continue, the media will continue to print these fake news, these nonsense, what they're doing. They don't care about this country. They don't care if war bacchanal starts with we and Venezuela. Until you start to share out wrong envelopes and pampers like what the UNC did when they were there, you will continue to get that from the media. Dr. Rowley, wake up, right? Because they don't care. You will continue to get that, right? And I want to say to Camilla Potsat-Bissessar, well, it seems like desperation times have started. I thought it would be 2025, we might see things like this, but you start early. And Gary Griffith, you really want to go back with the UNC after all what Camilla did you? Oh my God, no. You come to Dr. Rowley said the other day, why Camilla Potsat-Bissessar hurry to get licks every time it's called the election? Oh, please. Well, boy, I can't wait to see if she really joining her. But it happened in 2010, so who knows? She see opportunity, the union's upset, and she grab at it. Well, brother, all you go brave. You'll have a blessed weekend.
Thank you. You as well. All right, so 222-8255, toll free for North Americans, US and Canada. 866-525-1099.
In the world of politics, anything is possible. You see the strangest of bedfellows. Remember, I think in the People's Partnership, if my memory is serving me correctly, the union representative was the first to pull out in the MSG. Would that be correct, Wendell?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. He was a senator. He was appointed as senator, and he resigned not too long after.
Yeah, and someone messaged me and said the question is misplaced, but until when the UNC conjoined with the NJAC and COP and TOP and who else was it?
COP, Congress and
COP. Mm-hmm. There was an accord signed to make it official called the Pfizer-Bad Accord. Am I incorrect?
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
I don't know of any such accord being signed yesterday.
No.
So that's why the question has officially formed a coalition.
Yeah, because eventually they will have to come to some sort of official agreement. They have not done so yet.
The experiences of 2010 have a stronger framework for operating together if they go that way.
Well, the stronger framework will mean nothing if at the end of the day UNC win all the seats and them fellas win nothing. It will mean nothing again.
Right, because it will come down to who has the power in the parliament.
Yeah, yeah.
You may
get
a few positions in the Senate, but you have to be elected to the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
You have to make inroads into the East-West corridor.
Yeah.
And you have to have representatives that the East-West corridor will unite behind. If it is that their choice is to get rid of the PNN.
And not only that, Richard and Wendell and Steve, if one of the coalition partners, in parentheses, is capable of winning a seat, it gives you a strong voice in the coalition.
Yes, it does.
Because then you have to appease that person when votes come to the parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So that person is not a part of the UNC. That person will be a part. But did the COP have they didn't win a seat? Well, did they?
COP won St. Augustine with Prakash Amada.
But that didn't seem to prevent them from being sidelined.
No, it didn't, because Prakash Amada, you remember, his whatever had disappeared. It dropped and fall and rolled down the road.
No, it didn't roll down the road.
You're talking about People's Partnership?
Yeah.
No, but there were several seats won by the COP representatives.
Yep. Roger Samuel was
Arima was one.
Yeah.
Anil Roberts was David O'Meara.
And he was COP at the time.
Dr. Lincoln Douglas was Lopino Bonnier. But they were all gutless.
So they had 4 seats recalled already, and they still didn't seem to have the kind of say in what was happening.
It didn't take Anil long to put on a yellow shirt. I don't forget these things, you know.
As
Well,
West is right.
I don't know if it is that it didn't have a say, you know, Paul. I think it is that the leadership of the COP, in a sense, became subservient to the UNC interest.
And what was the effect of that? In not having a say.
Yeah, but I don't know that it was the individuals themselves. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And the leadership was the leader was Prakash Ramada. That's what I said. He was weak.
There was a lot of discussion about railroading and disrespect, and all that was part of the conversation. How the COP was being treated in the coalition.
Yeah. Yep.
It was, and Annie Roberts got with then leader. Is it Winston Dukran or somebody else at that point?
But it became Prakash Ramada.
It became Prakash Ramada, and an internal COP fracas ensued because of how they were allowing themselves to be treated. I remember something about the San Fernando Corporation. Remember that? And what happened with the revolution is they had no say.
Yeah. Yes, because they won. Remember, they won 11 of the corporations 2 months after. 2 months after the general elections of 2010, they won 11 of the 14 corporations.
And in their own words, the Feisenberg Accord framework was hardly put together because of the snap election called by then Prime Minister Patrick Manning. So it didn't have the kind of structure that gave equality of treatment or say to the COP, because it was the dominant party, and they didn't, you know. So
the sum total of all of that is that, because I don't think there has been a coalition since the People's Partnership that faced the polls. But part of the problem, part of the uphill battle with that coalition is that many of those independent voters who would have voted for those coalition partners and would have come out at that point that Patrick Manning had called that early election would be disenchanted and disillusioned about the general tenor of how politics plays out in this country.
Yeah.
The rampant opportunism that holds for nothing, but just seems to be that whoever is in the bed that I think is suitable for my opportunistic goals is who I get into bed with.
Yeah.
And rather than country, rather than focus on Trinidad and Tobago and how do we make Trinidad and Tobago better than it is.
Yeah. Because you know what?
That gets lost in terms of the jockeying for power. And voters are not stupid.
Yep.
So I'm not saying the coalition, if the coalition wants to coalesce, using those words, to be something representative, that's the kind of work they would have to do. They'd have to convince those independent voters that you're legit and you're authentic.
You know what I think they'll also have to do? Because if you remember, the People's Partnership had won 29 seats to the PNM's 12. The 5 or 6 seats that the COP had meant nothing to the UNC because remember, people were calling on the COP to walk away and save face. The COP didn't do that because the UNC knew that even if they walked away, they still had enough to keep government, right? What the UNC needs to do now, what this partnership needs to do now, is give their partners safe seats so that it balances it out. If they take all the UNC seats and let the partners fight up with the PNM or the marginal seats, then it will mean nothing at the end of the day.
Steve, would you like to play the thing Gary sent?
Yeah. Let me take this call. This call has been on hold for a long time. Good morning.
Morning again. I just want to say that to tell Wendell that they wouldn't want to do that now. Remember that the salary, what the Salaries Review Commission gave, it's passed. So everybody looking for a big fat salary. What they're doing, their mind is stuck on the Treasury. And to Richard, you know the newest building that is being constructed now in Arima.
By Royal Bank?
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
All right. So that's where energies are being poured into.
Yeah, but that's bodies building.
What?
I say that's where energies are being poured. I'll leave it
Oh,
there.
that now see what
Right.
Gina mean now too.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Gary
Hmm.
Griffith sent this for me a while ago. I'll play it here. No. Let's get it.
Tobago. This is Gary Griffith. So just to clear the air pertaining to the newspaper articles that you have seen today, where Kamala blanks Gary or Gary opts out of coalition. As a political leader and as someone who has served my country for decades, I wish to state I will always be willing to unite Trinidad and Tobago. If you're unable to speak with other political parties and unite with other parties, then you're unable to unite a country if you become prime minister. The problem exists. It has nothing to do with all the different comments about my statements about Julian John or anything like that. This has to do specifically with me representing that bridge constituency of those floating voters who are neither PNM or UNC till they die. And nothing is wrong with those persons who would like to blindly support a political party. That is their right. But as you would have seen in 2007, the Congress of the People had 147,000 votes. Those are the floating voters who are neither PNM nor UNC. My job is to represent those individuals and make sure that they are not used by any political party. The problem exists right now is that what Kamala Persad-Bissessor wants is to have 21-seat UNC government. So her plan is to have the 19 seats that she presently holds, which is understandable, but she wants to insist that all of the marginal seats that are winnable in a coalition must have UNC candidates, such as seats of St. Joseph, Tunapuna, San Fernando West, Sangre Grande, La Joqueta, Talparo, for example. And then by doing that, she will get her 19 seats that she presently has, plus the other marginal seats that she will win using a cosmetic coalition alliance prior to election, have 21 seats, and then spit out all of the same third parties as she did in 2010 to 2015. I cannot allow that to happen. So this is not Gary Griffith being arrogant. This is me standing firm to make sure that the third-party voters, the floating voters, that bridge constituency, whatever you call them, must never be used again. And that is the problem. So I have no intention to do what these other political parties are doing now. I am not going to have the third-party voters be prostituted in any way to be used and then spat out like what happened in 2010 to 2015. The day Kamala Persad-Bissessor is willing to state, I am going to have mutual respect and treat the other political parties with some degree of respect to ensure that there's going to be equity and they're going to have some degree of representation in the next government, that is when I will be willing to listen, and then she can give me a call. Until then, I have no intention for you to have a cosmetic approach, try to lure floating voters to vote for your UNC candidates in those marginal seats so that you will have a 21-seat UNC government. As I close on this, this is exactly what happened in 2010. The representatives of the Congress of the People in the negotiation sold out. They ensured that the UNC got 21 seats. And as soon as the UNC got 21 seats in the 29-seat coalition government, they threw out the COP, the MSJ, NJAC on top because they had 21 seats. This is what they want to do again. Have 21 seats and then have a UNC government without any other political party having any representation in that government. So I ask the country, do you want a 21-seat UNC government, or do you want to have a government with a coalition of forces with proper representation to ensure checks and balances to prevent the mistakes that took place in 2010 to 2015?
And he is absolutely correct. That's exactly what's going to happen.
His analysis is dead on, based on our discussion earlier on and what happened in 2010.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. The UNC is going to use these people and spit them out. Unless they give answers.
Will be their business. You all have a great weekend. Be safe out there.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
And the weekend has begun, people. So put a smile on your face, whatever you're doing, as we drive towards Christmas. Have a fantastic day. It's Friday, so enjoy it. Put a smile on your face. Remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. And we'll speak to you bright and early on Monday morning. Enjoy the weekend, whatever you do.
All right, Rich, Paul, Wendell, do have a great, safe weekend. Folks, just remind you that in the Pet Butler today, Dr. Gooding will be in Petuasis, Elscore Road, and Murad Street in San Juan. Come and check us out for your pet supplies. And our event will be in by appointment only. Call 610-8725 or WhatsApp 710-8725. Let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief. It is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Time for your news update to 8 o'clock. Irresponsible and incompetent is how the government described a daily newspaper headline which said United States can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago. Government signs agreement as White House ups pressure on Maduro. Prime Minister Dr. Rowley said this country's position of non-interference and non-intervention in other nations' internal affairs has always been the stance taken by Trinidad and Tobago and has been publicly indicated in the past. Meanwhile, opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar is questioning the signing of 5 agreements between TNT and the U.S., 2 of which could permit the U.S. to station troops in TNT in the event of a conflict in neighboring Venezuela. Persad-Bissessar called upon the government to make the details of those agreements public. The political climate is heating up after the United National Congress yesterday began efforts to forge alliances with smaller political parties and prominent trade unions to take on the ruling People's National Movement in the next general election. A National Transformation Alliance political leader, Gary Griffith, has questioned what he described as an attempt by United National Congress political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar to fool the population into believing the UNC is forming a genuine political alliance with other entities to win the next general election. Without your update to 8 o'clock, news in full comes up at 12 noon. I'm Afro Sidney.